You know what, baby? Social media always seems to get a bad rap, but I can say that I've met some of the most amazing people by watching their content, and that's how we met this amazing couple.
Yes.
Because he was sharing with the people about the importance of being wise and making good decisions, empowering people. And I just love to see people who are not afraid to share information and to give people wisdom. And so that's how we were able to get them on our show.
So we are going to be talking to DL and Quiana Woods. Welcome to the Rich Relationship Podcast with Gil
and Renee, where amazing things happen. Our goal is to help build, repair, and restore healthy relationships.
Our primary focus is on the marriage relationship. However, the topics are applicable to the relationships that we value most. Remember, we're stronger together.
Let's grow.
Thank you for just taking out some of your time. You know, we know that you guys are super busy, but we appreciate you.
Absolutely. It's been a great time being in the house. You get to really see who likes you.
Yes, you do.
Spend a lot more time together and build a relationship, so it's all good. How you guys holding up over there?
I am having a wonderful time. I'm enjoying it. I'm actually trying to help people to see the value in staying at home. So I'm doing like a 14-day challenge to encourage people to stay home and get connected, be intentional, and spend time with their family. So I'm enjoying it.
I have to, full disclosure, I had to stop saying stuck in the house because Renee was saying, you're not stuck in the house.
You just was like, I can't wait for outside to open back up.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. So I'm going to start using that when outside open back up. So I'm going to borrow that statement from you.
Quiana, how are you enjoying it?
I'm actually having a great time. I'm attempting to find ways for me and the kids to stay active. I'm now a teacher.
Yes, you are.
I didn't have to finish school for that. I get to homeschool. So that's been fun. I didn't know my oldest daughter she has all this. I got it, Mama. I logged in. I've done my work. And I had to remember my 6-year-old son still needs some help. So I was like, oh, wait, I forgot about his work.
Oh, that's okay. Isn't it amazing how you can have two children that with the same parents and it turn out totally different?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God.
Completely.
Definitely different. We were just celebrating birthday. I had a tele birthday because of, everybody's inside. It was March 30th. So we had a lot of, we actually, it's crazy. We actually hired a DJ to play via Zoom from his remote location for my birthday.
Wow. That was creative.
And so just to see the difference in rhythm with these two individuals is amazing. She is like Queen TikTok. And my son, we gonna pray for him.
That's okay. You can't get all the gifts.
No. That dude, that's amazing. But everything is great.
Good. So one of the things that we did when we just started watching and getting familiar with you guys had some amazing video and content that you put out. And even in some of the things that you say, that's what we're gonna actually be talking about a little bit. But we always like to start this episode out with everybody has a story, and you guys had an interesting note that you provided us, and we wanted you to talk about something that happened on your wedding day in church and those things. So, but
we call it your love story. So please share with us your love story.
So if we start this out with just sharing something about your story for our listeners, just to kind of get them familiar with the Woods and a little bit about your love story.
Oh, well, that's always fun. So DL and I went to high school together, but we did not date in high school.
She used to braid my hair.
So you were his stylist, huh?
Right?
I was faithful.
But we went to high school together. I went off to college. DL went off to college here in Texas, and I ended up coming back. And he was like, "Hey, I want you to come to this meeting with me."
No, I'm gonna get dressed.
Yeah.
I want you to pick you up.
He wrote me on Facebook. He was like, "Hey, get dressed. I'm gonna come pick you up." And honestly, I liked him, and I thought we were going to go on a date when he sent me that. I was like, "Okay, sure." So I went and bought an outfit from Forever 21.
Yes.
He picks me up from my home. He takes me to a opportunity meeting about selling insurance, leaves me in a room with strangers, and walks out.
Whoa. What I was trained to do.
I was like, what is this? Oh my God. But funny thing was I ended up deciding that I think I could sell insurance, and I didn't go back to school. And within a matter of a year of us actually doing that together and working together, we got a stronger crush. We ended up going to my uncle's church, and I remember he got up and my uncle was like, "Hey, why aren't y'all married?" And right? That's what, and this is in Louisiana, so y'all know family members just be like,
they just put you on blast. No filters, no censors.
So here's the privacy line. We just crossed it. So we're right now. Why you ain't married that?
Why y'all ain't married? Because we have been dating for a year, and we had our daughter. We did have our daughter. She was about 2 months, and my uncle was like, "Why aren't y'all married?" And I was like, I don't think this is what we're going to do. But DL ended up saying, it's a money thing.
It was a money thing.
He said it's finance. That's why we're not married. And we sat back down, and my cousin at the end of service walks up to us and says, "Hey, God told me to give y'all this." And
he gave me one of them homeboy handshakes with money in his hand, like an old school movie.
Right.
He said, "Put this in your pocket." I was like, "All right, well, I appreciate you, bro." I didn't even know the guy's name, actually. It was her cousin, but you got so many cousins that's in Louisiana where we really
it could be your 15th cousin.
Right.
Exactly.
We got to my grandmother's house, and usually when people do that, you think it's like $20, $50 here. He literally gave us $500.
Wow.
And we looked at each other, and we're believers. We've always been believers. We were like, this is a sign.
Yes, it is.
Because he didn't hear what my husband told my uncle. And there was no break in time for my uncle to go tell my cousin, this is what he said. And
God said, "I shall supply all of your needs according to my riches and glory in Christ Jesus."
So literally what he did was eliminate an excuse of why
exactly.
Because, if you gave me $500, so a marriage license in Texas is $67.
Yes.
I can't say that it's money. So
that's right.
We ended up going to visit a church, another one of my uncles. I have a family full of preachers, right?
Yeah, I kind of gathered that.
We went to, out here in Houston, we went to my uncle's church, and we were just going to join church. And we got up there to join church, and my husband tells my uncle here and says, "Hey, I want to marry her."
Well, that sounds good, son. You just can't do it without a marriage license. And I was like, "It's in the car." And he said, "Oh, wow.
Y'all prepared."
The congregation about to have a wedding.
We're having a wedding.
Well, I was getting ready to say, Quiana, did you know he had the license in his car? Or did he forge a signature or something?
No. we went got it, but we were like,
"Oh, okay.
We don't know when. We're just gonna be proactive."
That's good. But that says a lot about who you guys are as people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was that day when he did that. I had on a red and white polka dot dress that belonged to my mom with some summer slippers like sandals. DL had on this
polo shirt tucked into some jeans. Attention that looked like the first day of Sunday school.
We're 20. And so it was so uncommon. But we felt it was right. Like our parents weren't there. Nobody was there other than people that went to the church.
Some cousins that went to the church.
And people we didn't know. And so it was like, we're just going to do it. It's going to be us anyway, so let's figure it out.
That's an awesome story. Because ours is kind of parallel to that because we got married when we were 21, and we actually, I'm retired Air Force, so we actually got sent to North Dakota. So it was nobody there.
Except us.
Yeah, it was just us. So we identify with, when you're starting out young, you really don't have anything in form of resources or nothing. It's just you and her. It's just me and Renee, just like you and Quiana. So you had to build upon that. But one of the things that we learned during our time in Minot was if it's just going to be me and Renee, we're going to actually have to work together as a team on everything from the very beginning, you know. So, and that's something we know that you guys talk a lot about as far as teamwork.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's not just in business, but how does that translate into building a marriage and using teamwork?
So for the first 2 years, it was really identifying, because my husband is the only child at home with his mom. I'm the oldest with my mom. So it was really attempting to figure out how do we work together. For the first 2 years, it was like, okay, do we share our computers? I mean, little things that shouldn't matter. But we was like, do we share our bathroom space, our closet space? How do we make this work together? And really, it was a lot of teaching moments for both of us. DL was teaching me how to share, which was funny to me because I'm like, you're the only child, and I'm the
easiest to share of everybody. He's one of us. I'm the easiest one to share.
So he taught me early on just the heart behind sharing. He was teaching me like, no, we can do it together. We can both have it. Because I came up with, you know, my mom buys me one, she buys my sister one. We don't have to share. We have our own. And so
I'm like, that's not good money management right now. That's in this non-good financial state at the being married. I'm like, you got to understand, we're going to have to share a lot. It ain't no buy me one, buy you one.
It was us together. And then I came from places, I came from a very OCD type background with my family. And so even in making up the bed, teaching him, okay, this is how I was taught to wash dishes. This is how I was taught to make up the bed. It came a lot of simple things that people don't think about in marriage.
Oh, it matters.
But it matters. And so it helps.
What way the toilet tissue should be. Oh, my God.
It was
Quiana,
like,
you sound like Gil. Your mom.
Like, it should be over versus under. I'm like, yo, it don't matter.
It's like, who cares?
You got one purpose. So.
But we found out our strengths early on. We found out what we were good at and how to let each other be good and great in our own lanes.
And when it's time to actually do correction, the perfect time and the perfect way to go about doing it, so that we're not stepping on anybody's toes, but at the same time, we're getting what is important to us to that other person.
Well, you know, from listening to you two, you both seem to be different. Give me an example of, like you just said, you know, talking about what needs to be changed without stepping on the other person. Give us an example of what that looks like for our listeners, for people who don't know what that means. Because I think sometimes when you're good at doing something, you just think that other people can do it. But I know you guys are both good at explaining that and breaking it down. Break that down for someone. What does it mean to...
So we're in business together, and a lot of that has to do with mentoring, coaching, building other people up. And sometimes because our story was so one from, you know, rags to riches, I had developed a lot of no nonsense mentality for a lot of things that was happening. And we have this new group of this new generation of college students and millennials and everything. So when they call and ask for certain pieces of advice, I would give it to them straight, no chaser, like there's no filter type of, you know, talk. Hey, this is what it needs to do for you to get to the next level. And right after I would hang up the phone, wifey would literally look at me, rub me in a certain way and be like, hey, listen, you could have said that a different way. And I'm like, what you mean? Like, how can I have said that a different way? She was like, well, that guy was actually calling for nurturing. I'm like, I'm not his mother. So we got to, like, okay, so I'm just telling him he needs to do A, B, and C. Well, how about you ask him, how does he feel? Like, no, my mentor never asked me how I felt. I just needed to do A, B, and C to get to my goal. And so, and then just hearing her and saying, well, you got to understand that timing is different. The way you grew up was different. What the things that you were exposed to are different. So in this time, you're going to have to be able to be manly enough to deliver the message, but in touch with your feminine side to actually be able to manage the emotions of some individuals while we're developing people at the level that they're at. So I said, you know what, let me go ahead and tap into my empathetic space and be able to coach people. And it has literally been a turn where I can see that some of those people that normally would just call her to get motherly advice, they'll call me expecting the real, but I can give a little bit of that empathetic advice as well.
And he said something big there. Empathy is something that I think people may hear the word, but it's knowing how to feel. And that helped us in overcoming our differences because we had to be empathetic towards each other. Like I had to have empathy that my husband, although he is focused on what he's doing, that doesn't mean that he does not care about how I feel. But if he's in the middle of doing something and I go to him with a serious subject or something that I want to talk about, and I see that he's focused, I'm not exercising empathy by just saying, okay, hey, stop what you're doing and focus on what I'm about to say. Instead, what we would do is if I need to talk to him and I need his full attention, I will say, hey, this is a serious moment. I need you to walk away from the computer. I need you to come to the room and talk with me. And I'm big on asking, hey, can you not touch anything or fidget with anything while we're talking? I want you to look at me in my eyes because that makes me feel like you're listening to me. But it's about knowing when the right time to talk with each other and observing each other's work. Like, it's not a selfish thing.
And that's amazing that you guys, early in your marriage, did you guys go through any kind of counseling or any kind of mentoring of marriage specifically? Because you guys sound very wise when it comes to some of the principles that you are already practicing early in your marriage that Renee and I kind of work with couples on who may have been married for a little while. Did you guys do any kind of mentoring or marriage counseling or anything like that before you got married?
It was fire, aim, shoot. How do you say fire, aim, ready? Like that's
ready, aim, fire.
It was.
March, set, go.
It was.
We both come from single parent background, so neither one of us saw it. And when we got married, of course, we just got married. We were like, let's do it. And my pastor was like, okay, y'all may need counseling afterwards, after we had said I do. But what really helped us, that insurance company that we were working with, it was a couple, David and Jax Farmer.
Yes.
We had never seen a couple with so much
love for each other
and happiness. I mean, we were like, oh, that just looks amazing. And so
better than amazing, huh?
Right? We just stuck around them. And Jax was so loving. And it was how she talked and how she supported David. I mean, he would get up and I remember he would be flustered and she would address us and be like, hey guys, you know, this is what's going on with my husband. And it was just the way that she would deliver messages. And then David would be...
She was the velvet hammer.
She was the velvet hammer. And David was always talking about his family and protecting them and making sure they had what they needed. Their kids would be in the office. They would invite us out to like their beach home and to their home, like just to have time. They would do a Bible study. It was an example, a living example of what we wanted. So although we weren't getting the counseling, visually we were seeing it.
We had a model. We had a model to duplicate or to see the bits and pieces that we wanted to have and be able to just model that in our own marriage. But then, nobody's marriage is perfect. We went through the vicissitudes of marriage. And then God blessed us with like some powerful couples that we call our board of directors.
Yeah.
Some of them don't know they're on our board of directors, but we do have a board of directors. And then we, some people that have been married 15, 20 years, we get some bits and pieces off of them. And so that's informal marriage counseling, just wisdom. They say wisdom is or mentorship is wisdom without the wounds. So what we did is we actually just followed some people that, had the marriages that we wanted to duplicate.
And, I think that's so beautiful because what we always talk about is that's why we do the podcast, because we feel like we learn from each other. And it's better to have someone that you can learn from versus it just being written in a book. So you guys are both believers and you both work together and you guys have been married. You guys are going to be celebrating 10 years in June.
Or July.
July. And we are so excited about what you guys are doing and celebrating you. If you had to say one thing that you learned from the people you've watched that you implement, I want you guys both to share what that one thing is that has really been a treasure to your marriage and to your relationship.
I'll say forgiveness. I have to say forgiveness. Being an early on couple, my husband says vicissitudes, but we dealt with infidelity very early on in our marriage. And that did two things. It was on my end. It was on me. And that did something to both of us. It made me go into a shell of guilt. Mm-hmm. So I really withdrew from the world in a sense. I got engulfed in wearing turtlenecks almost every time I did something. And my husband, he never threw it in my face or anything like that, but his shoulders didn't sit the same. Mm. And we met a couple that we're still close with this day.
Shout out Chip and Keisha.
Yeah. They let us come to the house. And this had been some years, but we had never really
unpacked it.
Yeah, what was going, unpacked it. And we sat down with them and they told us their story and how they got through theirs, how they got through infidelity, how they forgave again. And since then, the way we've been able to communicate and really, number one, not have to go back to that place, but at the same time have a level of forgiveness for each other, that who you were then is not who I'm going to judge you as who you are now.
That is beautiful.
And so forgiveness is probably the most beautiful thing I can say that I needed.
Communication, being, I know I make jokes and things of that nature, and I let my wife know that, you know, as good as I am, I'm not a mind reader. You know, sometimes you're going to just have to communicate with me what's really going on in your space. And know that I'm going to hear you with the ear of we're on the same team. Yeah. So if you can just let me know, I know that you're not going to tell me anything that's going to hurt me, or you shouldn't tell me anything that's going to hurt our team. So anything that can be said or shared, it literally can be wisdom so that I can apply so I can get better. Because in that example that I heard or I saw from David and Jax, David always used to talk about how he wanted to make sure that he would listen to his woman and be the example to where there could be no other man that could actually take his place, you know, and even hearing that from, you know, Eric Thomas, E.T. the hip hop preacher, like my next guy, like at 20 years old, I had a lot going on, you know, well, I didn't have a lot going on. And my marriage was not very open, but it wasn't locked down. Now, at 30, homeboy got to be excellent. Like literally, like now I got it on lock. So he got to be better than the Pope to actually get to anything happening in this way. So no. And that's just what it is. Communication has been one of the biggest lessons to learn. And communicate in the good times and in the bad times. Yeah. When I'm doing good, tell me I'm doing good, because that's something that I want to hear. And the same thing is, I'll tell you that, you know, hey, when you're doing good, I'm going to acknowledge that, because nobody wants to be, only time you're acknowledging someone is when they're doing something bad. Mm-hmm. So that has been excellent in our marriage.
And that's awesome principles, you know, conflict resolution and communication and forgiveness. Those are things that are essential to building on any kind of marriage or any relationship, really. You know, and one of the things that we wanted to have you guys talk to is about when you have overcome those difficulties in your marriage, how do you continue to inspire each other to move forward after you've overcome some difficulties?
So we did the love language test. Mm-hmm. And mine is words of affirmations, quality time, DLs is physical touch,
and words of affirmation.
So after those times, it's really saying, hey, I'm going to speak to you in your love language. I'm going to talk to you now in a way that you receive love. So I'm going to hug you more. I'm going to kiss on you more. I'm going to let you walk up and grab me, because we've been laughing about that, but it's like, those are the things that speak love to you. And so I want to make sure I'm communicating that way. Actually being involved in saying, hey, you did something good. You did great. I just saw that you took the time. For him, he'll take the time to say, I'm going to make up the bed the way I know she likes it. And then I'm going to come lay in it with her. Hey, let's watch a movie together. You want some ice cream? Like those things, it's about, we just start making time after stuff is tough to say, hey, let me go ahead and send some love back to you. But we also have a chart in our bathroom that's really important to us. We have a chart and it has 6 things listed on it. Certainty, significance, variety, love and connection, growth, and contribution. And we grade each other on a scale from 1 to 10 on how we feel in those areas. And then we have a spot where we write notes to each other of love. And that kind of helps us just identify if we're ever feeling empty in a space or low in a space, we know why.
Mm-hmm. So it's like it's to have a void and not know why, or the other person not know what void you're having, is just a recipe for, an open door. So what you want to do is you want to be able to identify where there is a lack of attention and be able to provide that. So if I'm not feeling significant, if I'm not feeling certain here, if I'm not feeling love and connection, if I'm not feeling growth, if I'm not feeling contribution, if I'm not feeling variety, because, doing the day-to-day in marriages, just sometimes it could be mundane. If there is no wow factor, if there's no variety, people can feel like a marriage is quote unquote getting stale. And it literally is just saying, hey, listen, I want to be able to just let's go eat Vietnamese today. Some random thing to have some variety, because I don't want to be in my mind thinking, are you still breathing every breath and not hearing me? Like, I want to be able to identify what the problem is and be able to say, okay, well, I see on the chart, maybe you're not feeling variety or you're not feeling, significant. Where is that stemming from? And let's talk about it and let's fix it. So it's not only just identifying the problem, the whole point of analysis is to get to a place where you can actually take action. And so, so that's the part that we need to go ahead and, okay, now that we've analyzed, let's go ahead and take action on that.
Yep. And what's so important about you said, I want you guys to share that on like a PDF with me, and I will share that in our community, because I think it's important. We always try to give people calls to action, practical things to do. And like, I love the 5 love languages, but I agree. What you guys have done is you guys have added the emotional IQ to it, because I think that's what happens is people know what each other's love language is, but then what do you do with that? And so what you guys just provided, if you guys would provide that with me, I would gladly share that with the community. And so what helped you guys come to that? I think that your business backgrounds, it sounds like you guys are very business focused, but you guys have taken those principles and added them to your marriage.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Tony Robbins.
That
guy's a giant in our household. So he has this IQ test. And he talks about, the 6 needs that every human needs.
Yeah. And
so we just applied that. Okay, well, hey, maybe that's what we need in our marriage as well. And it literally just changed the way we feel about each other and the way that we can tactically, attack some things when it comes to our area. So yeah, that's where that came from.
Yeah, that was Tony, and we listened to a lot of audios.
Yes.
The cool thing about us being married so young, it was like we were clay. We were still being formed. And so we just did what people said to do. Like, okay, let's see if this works. Let's listen to this audio. So our car oftentimes is a university. We're listening to some type of self-help, some type of John Maxwell, some type of Zig Ziglar, some type of Jim Rohn, some type of E.T. TD Jakes.
Nimbleness of mind and liquidity of thought.
We're always.
But then there's also ample application.
Yeah.
Yes. That's we were taught. Well, I made the statement even on a conference call the other day when we will always hear different people say note takers or money makers, and I don't believe that. I believe note takers are A students, but the people who apply the notes, they are the real money makers, and they get the results. So we just decided to become the notes.
Yeah.
And that's why we got the overall results that we have in our life in business as well as in personal life.
Yeah.
So we're talking to DL and Quiana Woods about business and relationship on the Rich Relationship Podcast with Gil and Renee. And this has been some amazing conversation and some amazing talk. And I want to go backwards a little bit, if you guys don't mind, because you guys have talked to about it as far as about roles and responsibilities before. And just you kind of alluded to it a little bit. And I think that's an area that I think whether you've been married for a while or you just newlyweds, that's something that people kind of struggle with from what we've experienced and seen. How did you guys think about as far as roles and responsibility or developed it, and how important is it in establishing those things in your relationship, in business and in marriage? So
the funny thing is we first came into our marriage with that traditional thought, okay, who washing dishes? Who's supposed to be making the money? Who's supposed to be doing that? I mean, in a very traditional sense.
Right.
But then we listened to John Maxwell, and he was talking about focusing on what you're good at.
Yes.
Focusing on what you're good at. And it took us a minute because at first we were attempting to make each other good in areas that's just not our area. Like, oh, you need to conform to this way. And it's when we start accepting each other's gift. A prayer that we both would say is, God, help me to love my husband the way you do. Help me to see the things that you see.
Mm-hmm.
Because I need to see. I don't see him right now.
Right.
I see him, and with patience and with understanding love, and like DL said, knowing that we're on the same team, we were able to understand. Hey, number one, nobody has to say, okay, you do the dishes all the time. That's not. We're a team. So if you've cooked, I'm gonna clean. If you took the kids to school, I'm gonna pick them up.
Mm-hmm.
And this is on an intimate level. I'll say this: if you've been the person, you initiated some type of affection, okay, I'm going to initiate affection a different day. It's not always going to be on one person to do one task. Like, we just know that we're good in different areas and we're working together. So really understanding what our goal was and is, that helps us not get stuck in, okay, you just go do this.
Mm-hmm. And I'll piggyback on that. A lot of times, even it's crazy how in business you can identify some stuff that you can also identify in your relationship. Wifey would, when it comes to business travel, she would be the one that books the hotels, fly, find the flights, and do all of that work. And, so I would not have to do that. I could just focus on what I need to be focused on building the business. But at the same time, it'd be like, man, we need to really book a date, like a date for our family. And for if you're not like aware of this, you'd be like, man, why don't you plan out any dates for me? If she had that mindset of, baby, you don't plan out any dates. We're like, man, that's not a muscle that I exercise very, very well. And that's something that you do all the time. You plan, you're the planner, you're the person that go out there and do this. And being in a space where we're saying, okay, we've just identified something that has been a void. You've been waiting on me to go ahead and plan a date. And I've been running to make sure that our family last name got 2 commas in it. and now it's a void. How about we do this? How about I focus more on planning dates, but while I'm building that muscle, I want you to, with our schedule, what our schedule is. book out a time to where we'll be able to actually have a date. And then, you know, I can start doing little things like edible arrangements and, you know, great American cookies and all this other type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll make my way towards being this awesome event planner. But while I'm in that space, how about you exercise your gift?
Yeah.
And vice versa when it comes to everything else. So that's just been how to identify roles. Whatever your day to day, if you are a CPA during the day and you don't want to handle books at home, that's a problem. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you don't be the CPA for someone else and not pay for your household. If that's a strength that you have, operate in that strength. Be like, no, I'm so tired. No, don't be tired when it comes to the household.
Yeah.
Be tired at the job. Don't be tired when it comes to the household. And so that's just something that that we recognize in our business and our relationship.
You know, I listen to you too, and it is so refreshing and encouraging to hear a couple, like you said, you guys grew up in single parent homes, and so did Gil and I. And I think that sometimes when you don't have something, because people always talk about people are a product of their environment. I believe that we're a product of our choices and our environment. And you guys are the epitome of that. You guys didn't have it, but you guys have chosen it. What would you speak? What would be something you want to leave to your children in the form of a principle or a desire that you have for them that you want to share with them right now? Both of you guys share something, please.
I would tell both my children to live life fully without fear. I'm always encouraging them and attempting that, because parenting doesn't have a guide.
Say that again.
Adulthood doesn't either. So you gotta go with what you feel in your gut. And my husband says it best. There is no right or wrong decision. You just make decisions and you make it right. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that you don't go through, and it's for my kids, you don't go through analyzing what's safe. But you don't be afraid to make decisions, even if it goes against what other people say.
What about you, Tio?
That's excellent.
Oh, man. That was excellent.
Well, see, now you just said it, Mr. Woods. You got to bring it now. She done set the bar up now.
Absolutely. So my thing she said, don't live. So you said, don't live in fear. Absolutely. I would say that. Take massive action. Take massive action would be don't be afraid to go against the mold. Because only the people who are remembered, those are the people that go against the grain. I believe that because we did things in an untraditional way, that's why we have untraditional results. And this whole time of our example with our kids, the amount of time we spend with our kids, the amount of appreciation we give, we make sure that we do stuff and we communicate with them. Mommy and daddy, we're working so that you can have X, Y, and Z. What is it that you want? So we want them to plan with their kids like we've planned with ours, like we've planned with them. You know, we sat down with our kids and we asked the question, baby, what do you want? Layla can articulate it better, you know, because she was the older, and she would say, okay, this year I want to go to Disney World. And I was like, okay, so now we know that this is the goal. Let's go ahead and plan out what it takes for us to go to Disney World. And she literally planned it out. She would go ahead and see which resort she wants to stay in and all of these different rides that she want to do and the fun passes and all that other stuff. We let them go through that entire experience and then let them know, okay, so now we have a number. We know what the work is going to be required to make this number happen. And so now that's going to require mommy and daddy to be able to, you know, be away for a little bit. As far as, you know, creating the lifestyle that we need so that you can go ahead and have this thing. And so they understand why daddy is going and mommy is going to a meeting or an event or traveling or whatever the case may be, is so that when June comes, we have the ability to go to Disney World. And not only do we just do Disney World, we do Aquatica. We do, we go over and above that minimal requirement. And so we plan with our kids. and we just give them the experiences that we wish that we had, but all of the experiences that we didn't have as well. I think that's one thing that we don't do. You know, they say, hey, I wish that you had better than I did. Give them better than what you had, but at the same time, give them everything that you had, which was sound principles, sound discipline. Don't have them spoiled to the point to where they feel like they're entitled, but they feel like, okay, if I plan my work my plan will work. That's what I'll give to my kids.
You know, when you think about, you know, most couples and most people who have, you know, who work together and who are married and they have children, what has been one thing you guys have learned to practice to balance that, to keep your family in priority, and what's one practical things you guys each do to keep things in balance?
I'm going to say it like this. We've learned that there is no such thing as balance. However, there is a such thing as harmony. Balance means that, you know, 50% of my time goes to my business, 50% of my time goes to my family. And that's really not how it is. Sometimes I have to burn the midnight oil, if you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, yes.
Getting a goal accomplished. Sometimes that means that we won't have family night tonight, but we'll have it tomorrow. So we won't just have 100% balance, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we do not have harmony. And to set the expectations up front, to plan it out, is what alleviates that.
Yeah. And helping with harmony practically is communication. There is nothing that we do that our kids can't be a part of. And that's just a foundation for us. I mean, when it comes to balancing business.
Well, let's say priorities. Let's not call, because I agree. I don't agree. I believe in balance. I believe that things have to be prioritized.
Yeah, prioritize wise, our kids come first.
Yes.
If my daughter's a cheerleader. We were in London. We went to London on a Tuesday. Layla had a competition on a Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, wow.
I had a conversation with her and said, hey, Lay, is it okay if mommy and daddy don't make it on Saturday, but we are there first thing Sunday morning? And I said, if that's not okay, we won't go to London. And Layla looked and she said, you know, well, I understand. And I was like, are you sure? And she was like, yeah, I do. I was like, I promise we'll be there. And we got out, and on that Sunday morning, we were.
You got to tell them the rough. We got up. So the plane was boarding London so you got to understand how these conferences work. We actually are up all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
We had 2 hours of sleep so that we can actually get on a plane.
That will get us there on time to be here for 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
8 a.m.
We understand international travel. That's a major task.
We got here. She had us do a TikTok as soon as we got here.
And then cheer day from 8 in the morning.
Oh, our daughter was a cheerleader. We know it is the sport that never ends.
But thankfully, we were able to find a little space to nap while the other people were competing.
Yes, we know
under 800 teams for that 2 minutes.
Yes. It's like we got so. Is everybody doing the same cheer?
Same music.
You start learning the routines and the songs. It's like, come on.
But thankfully, we're able to always say, okay, what's going on with the kids first?
Mm-hmm.
Like after us, we're like, okay, we're good in love wise, marriage wise. Okay, what do the kids need?
Right.
Okay, they're good. All right, now let's do business. And because we have a strong support system, we know everybody doesn't have that.
Yes, and that's a blessing too.
We have a strong support system that believes in what we're doing. And so my mom and my husband's mom, my mother-in-law, are very good at last minute, okay, what you need us to do. And we're never, for us, it's like, okay, we need y'all for an hour. We need you for 2 hours.
Right.
Step in the gap, please.
Right.
We got y'all. We're going to reward y'all in just a second. And that helps. A strong support system. So I would tell anybody in marriage, even now, just starting out, make sure that you you have some type of support system, whether that's friends, whether that's family. There's so many, I think, supportive groups that help each other out when you understand what the goals are, what you're doing. And so, and it that helps. That helps. So prioritizing is having a strong support team.
Planning out the day and whatever the events are, and execution.
Having that harmony.
That's harmony.
Which comes with communication.
Yeah.
Well, DL and Quiana, I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation today. This has been an amazing time. I really appreciate you guys sharing your wisdom and just your nuggets of information. If our listeners want to reach out to you guys and follow you some more, what is all your contact information? We'll give you a chance to go ahead and tell them how they can reach out and get in touch with you guys and follow you.
So you can follow me on Facebook at Quiana, Quiana Woods. Or you can follow me on my Instagram. That is the letter M, the letter Z, Ms. Q Woods, WOODS _ winners with an S, winners circle. So that's Miss Q Woods _ winners circle on IG.
My Facebook will be DL Woods, DE'_EL, last name WOODS. And on Instagram, I am Mr. Better Than Amazing, and that is at Mr. _better _ amazing. And that's the platforms that we are on 95% of the time. And that's the best way. And thank you so much. I thank you guys for this interview. It has definitely birthed something, and I definitely love the picture as well as the title. The title to what you guys labeled this is I wouldn't trade you for anything. That was clever, and I definitely am going to steal that. Thank you so much.
That was me.
All the
credit for that. Definitely.
Well, thank you. So what do you guys have coming up next? What's your next endeavor that people can get connected with you and be a part of what you guys are doing?
So Monday through Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, you can catch my husband or myself live on our Zoom platform, as well as on the Black Wall Street platform, which is on IG, Black Wall Street. But our Zoom calls, we usually drop a flyer. That link is multiplymycheck.com, multiplymycheck.com, and the password is new money, one word.
On that platform, we just share with them.
We'll put that in the show notes too. We'll put all that in the show notes too, so people don't feel like they have to write it down right now. It'll be in the show notes.
Okay, great. On that platform, we just show people how to take what they're currently doing, because we understand that even in marriage, finances play a good part,
Yeah, it does.
Huge.
Early on in our marriage, finances was one of the things that allowed us to not get along, because when there's financial strains, there is strains everywhere. Everything is irritating.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
So we found a way that with what it is that we're doing, we show people how to multiply the money that they have already coming in, teach them some principles about overall life when it comes to with the financial life, because the financial life is a money game. You got to play the game to win. Some people are playing the game not to lose, and that's not a winning strategy. So
say that one more time. People are playing what?
People are playing the money game not to win, but they're playing not to lose, and that's not a winning strategy. So what we want to do is want to show them how to go ahead and win in the money game, and that's what we do on that.
So those are our live endeavors that we have. Once outside is back open,
Right.
we'll be planning some more tours. We'll be going to Baltimore for sure.
Orlando,
Cali. Atlanta, and California. So we'll have those posted on our IGs when we're able to get our tour schedule back out.
And while we're not, you guys can follow us on the Zooms, plug into those, and definitely change your info so you can change your income.
And that is an excellent point to end on. And we thank you guys again for your time. And remember, we are stronger together.
Let's grow.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for your investment in time. Remember to subscribe to the show and hit the notification icon to be notified when new episodes are posted on the podcast platform that you're listening from.
Or you can always find us on our website at richrelationshipsus.com or our YouTube channel, Rich Relationships with Gil and Renee. If you found this podcast helpful or you think it could help someone that you know and care about, please pass it along and share it with them.
And also, you can always send your questions and comments to richrelationships.us@gmail.com. This is a weekly podcast, and the new episodes are going to be posted on Monday by 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Remember, we're stronger together.
Let's grow.